Okay, this is going to be a foolproof method of getting your Elodea to photosynthesize on cue whenever you want. You can apply this to loads of different aquatic plants. You can apply this to algae, lots of different photosynthesis experiments, lots of variations. This is the secret sauce, so let's get it. Okay, so it's roughly 24 hours before the practical. I'm going to go out to the pond. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to use my grabber because I don't want to get my hands all pondy. I'm going to go into the pond. Hopefully I'll find some Elodea and go deep. And there it is, nice and green, looking real healthy. I'm going to pull that guy out, give it a little shake, 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 and take it over to my blue grapnels tray. Okay, then I'm just going to quickly give the frog some love. Big up yourself. And we're going to take our Elodea back to the lab. So now we're back in the lab. We're going to give our Elodea a couple of rinses. There's probably like a couple of dead leaves in there, some twigs, maybe some little bugs, so sorry little bugs. So we're going to do a couple of rinses of tap water, and then you can either finish off and let it stand in tap water or some distilled water. Okay, so this is the secret sauce right here. We're going to get a large bit of foil and we're going to cover our beaker up. Okay, we're going to make it light tight, and we're going to stick that on a desk until tomorrow. If I wanted to, I could just put it in a dark cupboard or something. At least I know it's there on the desk and I can always see it. Okay, so this is stuff for the whole class, 2 litre beaker full, and then there's the cupboard one. There's my Elodea having a little nap, just have a little peek at him, and then we're going to wait till tomorrow. So this is the inspiration for that additional step. You see those little bubbles? That's called purling in the aquarium hobby. Aquarium hobbyists will make sure they've got lots of CO2 in the tank, and then when the light goes on, all their plants will start bubbling. All right, let's do the mise en place. Let's get everything together. So I've got half a metre stick there, 16 of those. Yeah, class of 32, am I right? So that just goes up to 50. 2% sodium hydrogen carbonate solution. Maybe 6 or 8 bottles of those and loads of backup. Flat bottom boiling tubes that I'm thinking about starting using. I usually use boiling tube in a rack, but they knock over really easy and they roll. Maybe a bit of blue tack will solve that, I don't know yet. Counters, I don't always use them, sometimes I use them. It can be really annoying if you've got 30 students clicking away while you're trying to talk to them, but they are super, super fun, and it does make counting a lot easier. You can totally just count without them though. And then we've got our lamp. Now these lamps are from Amazon. They're really good. They're super robust. They're really, really bright. They're LEDs, so there's no heat from them. And it's got a clamp on it, and it's super bright, super versatile, and it's USB powered. So I might even, especially if we haven't got power in the room, we might use a Chromebook. You can make the table on the spreadsheet. They can share it with all the students, and it's really quick for them taking their data and turning it into graphs. Also got these USB plugs, which are super useful if we don't want to use Chromebooks, but the only problem is they get robbed, so you've got to be sure that you're counting in and counting out. Okay, so it's the next day and it's 20 minutes before the experiment's going to start. I'm going to unwrap my sleeping Elodea and wake him up from his slumber. Out he comes. And then I'm going to tip as much of that water out as I can, try and get all of it out if I can. Few more little bits of pond material coming out of there, but all in all it's pretty clean. Okay, so nice clean Elodea. We're going to get a bottle of our 2% sodium hydrogen carbonate solution, and we're going to tip the whole lot in. We're going to try and submerge the whole of the Elodea underneath 2% sodium hydrogen carbonate. I'm just going to cut a few sprigs off just from the top to the bottom, maybe 4 or 5, just as a little tester. And then we're going to take a strong light, full blast, and we're going to put that on there, and we're going to wait 10 to 20 minutes. So 10 minutes time, it should look like that. You should get some nice consistent bubbling from the pieces that you've cut, and then I'll know that the rest of them in there can be cut and they'll be ready to go. At this point, hopefully Sir's stopped talking and he's ready to start the practical. The students are ready to go grab the equipment, and this Elodea is ready to be cut and handed to them. And now me or another member of staff might stay in the room, sort out the students' Elodea while Sir is circulating around the room. Okay, once the students have got all their stuff ready at their desk, they can come to me and I'm going to give them a sprig of Elodea. I'm going to try and cut it under the water. I'm going to try and cut it on the bias. We want to make sure that our rinkum is clear and it's not got an airlock in it, which is going to screw us over when we need to see some bubbling. Okay, so one at a time, the student's going to come to me. I'm going to give them a piece of Elodea and put it upside down in a boiling tube. They're going to go back to their desk and they can go fill up the tube so that the Elodea is submersed in there. Turn off the lights, do up all the blinds, so we've only got the lights from the experiment going, and they are going to put their tube right next to that light. They can either be on top or on the side, but it's just got to be butted up right next to it, and they're going to wait 2 minutes until they start seeing bubbling. So I always say they're looking for steady, consistent, rhythmic bubbling, and that should be coming out from the stem. Sometimes the bubbles are coming out so fast the students can't even count them, and so they'll have to get a different piece or get their piece recut. Okay, so at this point it should be pretty much ready to start the experiment. The half a meter stick is laid out, and we're going to do number of bubbles over a fixed amount of time, probably 1 minute, 90 seconds, 2 minutes, something like that. We're always going to start at 0 as well. That's really important. We start at 0 and we go 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, or whatever graduations you're going to use. Different lamps are definitely going to give different sets of results, so it's definitely worth having a few trials, especially filament lamps. If you have got filament lamps, then maybe you might want to use a large beaker of water or something in front of it for a heat sink. External lights really skew the data on this one, so it's really important to make sure the room's completely black, especially from sunlight. So Sir's going to be circulating the room. He's going to be making sure that everyone's Elodea is poked down, they've got the equipment ready, and he's going to be reinforcing some of the theory that he's done with them. Meanwhile, I'm going to be over with the Elodea stock. I'm going to have some pre-made boiling tubes all ready to go. And actually from here, I'm going to be in a loud voice asking whose isn't working, get them to bring theirs up. I'm going to swap it out. So I'll take that back. There you go. You can go off with that one. Maybe it's an airlock, maybe it's floating. And I think this part is really important for consistency. I've had loads of students who've got really, really lovely sets of data over 35 minutes. They've managed to take 3 lots of data, 3 repeats. So out of the boiling tube, and I'm going to cut it. Probably should cut it underwater. Try and cut it on the bias, pop it back in, put the light back on, give it a few minutes to see if it's bubbling, see if I fix the airlock. There we go, that's how I prep for the Elodea practical. It's super consistent, super easy. I think if I'm going to spend that time preparing it the day before, I might as well be in there, but the teacher can definitely do all of the swapping in and swapping out. It just makes life a little easier for them, and it's nice to see the fruits of your labour. This technique is a real versatile base for doing other photosynthesis experiments. You can totally apply this technique to algae, to other aquatic plants. There's lots of variations and variables to investigate, which hopefully I'll get into in another video. Maybe I'll do something else on cultivating Elodea, how to keep it in a tank, how to keep it growing, where to get it from, and some of the science, a bit more in depth on how this experiment works. Okay, so let me know if it works. Give me a shout in the comments. Laters.